If you guys at home struggle with getting your right arm too deep in your backswing or in your transition, you need to stop, and here's why.
So Milo, one thing we see pretty much every day with students is this tendency to have the trail arm, in our case the right arm, basically pulling way too far behind us. So you see this trail elbow get way behind the seam line. Okay, so they're basically retracting this arm and the elbow way back behind. The problem with that is, one, it's either it gets stuck, or two, from there you have to just throw it all out because you got to get that thing back in front of you.
For sure. I see a lot of people, it goes there because of how they set up too. They set up with this right arm too long and on top. So now naturally, they want to go like this.
Yeah, you see that all the time. It's like dead straight, a lot of tension, right? And then they get almost their right arm and hand is too on top, and then it's like, they're just like pulling that thing right
Start the
inside.
lawnmower.
Snatch it up.
Yeah.
Right? Hey, if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell icon so you get notified of new videos as they come up, helping you learn to swing like an athlete. So Milo, talk about one other key component of this right arm getting trapped.
One other key component is the right arm is staying what's called internally rotated. So if this is internally rotated, my arm is going to work back like I'm drawing a bow back or I'm pulling a lawnmower. What's really happening here is we need to feel the right arm actually externally rotating, like I'm getting ready to throw something. So as I go to throw, my arm externally rotates. So there's some amount of external rotation that gets the club to stay moving on the plane, not internal rotation and bending the elbow this way.
Because I think of like a bow, right? You're pulling this thing back, and that's that retraction move we're talking about. How about instead snatching the arrow out of the back with some turn? I would get your hands high.
Yep, cool. So let's go a little deeper into why this motion is so bad in a golf swing. Well, I would say number one, when I do this, what didn't turn?
Your whole body?
Nothing turned. I got the club back here and loaded up, but my body hasn't wound up. So I really have no wind up. So I would say that's the number one reason I would say it's bad. Number two is my ability to control a low point is going to be very diminished. When I've done this, I got to get rid of this. So now I'm going to have a acute angle where I'm either pushing it down or I'm having to kind of cast it back behind me and get my arms trapped.
Yep.
And so I'm either going to hit it fat or I'm going to be steep.
Well, it's funny you mentioned the wind up, how important it is. Having spoken with some of the longest drivers in the world, long drive competitors, and yourself and me, when we're trying to go fast, almost the number one thing every guy says is the biggest thing is creating a big stretch in the backswing, getting that right side high, turning up instead of turning off. And I tell you what, this right arm retraction always goes with turning off, at least I've seen.
Generally, yes. Or not turning at all. Those two things.
Or not turning at all.
Yeah.
So for any of you guys that are at home and you look on video and you just see this right arm always stuck behind that seam line and you just feel stuck and you hit scoops and you hit chunks and you hit high, well, let's work to get this right arm staying a little more constant in front of us through the golf swing. So how do we do that, Milo?
Well, there's a few nice training aids we can use. You actually have one on your arm.
Yeah, everyone's watching the video thinking, oh my gosh, Henry's got
tennis elbow
or something.
No.
No, this is actually a new product that we're partnered with, so TRS Ball. So anyone that's used the TRS stick, tour rotation stick, the TRS Ball, I like mine a little bit more on the forearm because I actually like a little freedom at the top. I don't want to get too pinched up.
Yeah.
Because now you're kind of restricting movement. You're going to probably lose some speed out of that movement. But I want to feel like I got to still keep some width, create that good wind up we talk about. So I'll just put the ball right on here. And now I'm going to put it between my arms. And before I even hit balls, I would suggest making a lot of air swings with this. And you're going to feel like, I don't want to have to feel like I got to really force it. I just kind of want to feel like it's there.
One thing you will definitely feel though is your sternum will have to turn.
Yes, has to.
If you want to keep the arms the same distance apart, you've got to wind up.
I mean, I'm getting my sternum back to the camera right now.
More than back to the camera.
So there it is. That's what it feels like to me. So that's a good stretch. And even if you don't hit balls with this, it's just a good movement pattern to create. So that right arm, you'll see, Milo, if you want to get behind me and show him where my right arm is in relation.
Well, here's his seam line. So his right arm's in front of it. It hasn't gone behind it.
Yep. And then if I wanted to get a bigger turn and create a bigger backswing, I don't need to go more this way. I just need to keep winding up. So you just kind of go as far as you need to. If it's the length of John Rahm's backswing, it's the length of John Rahm's backswing. What's wrong with that?
I don't know, he's pretty good.
You just kind of go as far as you can while keeping some of that structure. And now I'm set to, when I land and turn, that right arm is right there, right in front of me.
It's right back where we want it, in front of you.
I don't need to force it, I don't need to drive it, and it's not going to get lodged back behind unless I make a weird move. So
that's kind of where I wanted to go, because I've seen a trend with a lot of students that are actually letting that right arm kind of fall back.
They're making circles. We talk about creating a little loop sometimes, no doubt. Stand it up, shallow it out. But we're talking about the club.
Yeah, we're referring to the center of mass of the golf club. We want it to work up to under, not necessarily our hands making a big circle like this.
I mean, when I do this, I just feel like I'm going to hit your golf bag back behind me, Milo. So creating this loop with our arms can create a lot of issues too. You're talking low point path. By keeping the arms just working more with our pivot, and you'll feel a little stretch in transition. They'll work into you a little bit, but more or less they're working kind of with us.
So for sure, in transition, we're going to feel a little stretch because we have a weighted stick in our hands and our arms, and hopefully if the sequence is right, things are not exactly moving at the same exact time. So there will be some little amount of stretch, but we don't want to see our arms doing this kind of a falling behind. I ideally like to see this right arm basically working with my turn.
Yeah, because I mean, how many times have we seen where students will make this swing and their right arm will be way back behind their right hip here?
Yeah.
So you get this look on camera. A lot of that's just, it starts in the backswing too. They tend to get it deep. So if we can keep the right arm more in front of us and then land and keep the right arm working with our pivot, now it's right over our thigh. We got some shaft lean with the wrist angle. You're all ready to go.
Yeah. Show us what you got.
So I'm actually going to start with a drill we kind of have on our site. I'm just going to do some wide arm swings and really turn in my bend. So I'm really creating that good wind up, feeling that turning up. So right side high. So I make this good wind up. I'm not turning off and around and getting my right arm too deep. So I'm not even going to add a hinge yet. Let's see how I do. So a nice wide turn.
Pretty good.
Okay, so now I'm going to add the hinge a little bit.
Okay.
Still not going to make like a full motion.
Okay, that's pretty good.
So to me, it feels like that right arm is just, once I kind of get it up to the top, it might sink just a hair deeper in transition, but then it's just working right with me. And it's like, whoosh, like that.
Awesome.
So I'll try a little fuller one now. So good stretch, come on down. Arms moving on through with me. All right, go home.
If you could swing like that, you're good.
Hold on. All right, so nice little contraption we have here. You see it used by so many tour pros.
Pretty much everybody uses a ball from time to time because you've got to get your arms synced to your body.
Yep.
So you can stabilize things and control your golf ball.
I mean, how many times do you hear the tour pros talk about, I need to get the arms in front of me, they need to be working with me. It's not so much about driving them out in front of you, it's just about keeping them working a little bit more with you versus getting them deep in the backswing. That's the tendency.
If you get them deep, you better drive them.
Yep.
That's more complicated.
So how we power things up, instead of powering up with driving that right arm back behind you this way, figure out how to get that club up and around using our turn, and like you said, getting that sternum backing up. Right?
Yep. Trail arm will do some external rotation. There's some stuff going on there, but it naturally happens if you put the ball there.
Yep.
You don't have to think about it.
All right, everyone, thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon. We really appreciate you guys following along. Ask your questions and comments so we can give you some more videos in the future, and be sure to check out milolionsgolf.com so we can help you learn to swing like an athlete.